For today's video we need to walk this way. It's a lovely hot day, right in the middle of they've labelled it a heat wave. But I'm used to this country, and any bit of heat that lasts more than an hour is a heat wave. Right, this is the house that I want to focus on today. We've got number 44 there and number 42 East Street. This was once used as an artist's studio, and the artist in question was Dorothy Butterfield. Now, if you want to know a bit more detail about Dorothy and her life, have a look at the Coggeshall Museum website, and under the Artists of Coggeshall you will find a whole article on Dorothy Butterfield. But suffice to say, I'm just going to cover a little bit today, because this house was also a house where the author Frank Baines lived. He didn't grow up here. He moved here with Dorothy in the mid-60s, and they had quite a friendship, and they decided to set up a home together. I don't know how far that friendship extended, but it doesn't matter. And she did a lot of her good work here. There's a garden on the back of this that Dorothy actually designed. I can only show you a satellite view. Hopefully it's still in a reasonably good condition. It might have been changed over the years. People tend to do that without knowing the history. Oh dear. I'll give you a little bit about this house and a little bit from the Coggeshall website. Dorothy Butterfield, born 1900 and died 1972. Dorothy Butterfield was born in Yorkshire to parents Lillian and Herbert Henry Butterfield, and was brought up and educated in the West Riding. The family moved to Chalfont St Peter, Buckinghamshire, in the early 1920s, and Dorothy enrolled as a mature student at the nearby Watford School of Art in the early 1930s. She taught at Corran Girls' School in Watford for 4 terms until 1931, when the school moved. Dorothy first exhibited in 1935 at the Royal Society of Artists in Pall Mall, London. She went on later to exhibit at the Royal Academy, the Society of Women Artists, the Paris Salon, the Royal Institute of Painters in watercolours, the Russell Coates Gallery in Bournemouth, the Whitechapel Art Gallery in East London, with other members of the Artists International Association, and at the United Society of Artists. The 1930s seem to have been Dorothy's most productive decade. It appears that she stopped painting during the Second World War, when she lived with her parents in Chalfont St Peter, and devoted her life to looking after them and making home produce. Her parents had died by 1954, and not long afterwards she moved to Coggeshall, where she lived in the Guild House, now the left-hand side of the White Hart Hotel. And she resumed painting, mainly her bold flower compositions in oils. Throughout her life, Dorothy sketched and painted on her travels. She travelled with her older sister Phyllis Story, and in 1963 she encouraged Phyllis to leave Yorkshire and buy the Cedars, 80 Church Street, Coggeshall, from the estate of Lady Baines, the writer Frank Baines' mother. Frank, a colourful and successful author, had forged a close friendship with Dorothy, and they set up home together in the mid-1960s at 42 East Street, Coggeshall. A beautiful house with panelled rooms. She had a studio there and created a stunning garden. In 1966, she visited the Amalfi Coast with Frank Baines. Inspired by the scenery there, she painted a series of lively watercolours. Among her best work, in 1972, she was diagnosed with liver cancer and died on her 72nd birthday. Before her illness, Dorothy had agreed to a retrospective exhibition of her work at the Fountain House Gallery in East Bergholt, and this went ahead a fortnight after her death in 1972, and a total of 42 works were sold. Well, that's Dorothy. There's a picture of Dorothy that I would have put up. I'll put it up again because looking at her photograph makes me smile. She comes across in that photograph as somebody who's a bit mischievous, cheeky, but a fun figure, and anybody would set up home with a lady like that, I'm sure. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget, if you've subscribed already, you don't have to again, but ding the like if you liked it, and I will see you in another video. Stay safe.